free.
Welcome back to The Quiet Fire. I'm Jayne, and today we are stepping gently and honestly into a conversation that so many women think about, but far fewer feel comfortable speaking aloud. Today's episode is called Intimacy, Sexuality, Body Image, and Relationships During Menopause. Now, before we begin, let me reassure you of something immediately. If you have recently looked at your partner breathing peacefully beside you while you lay there sweating like a Victorian ghost trapped in a steam room, and thought, honestly, if you touch me right now, I may report you to the authorities, you are not alone. And equally, if you have found yourself suddenly craving intimacy, tenderness, emotional connection, affection, reassurance, or rediscovering parts of your sensual self you thought had long disappeared, you are not alone in that either. Because menopause is not a single experience. It is deeply individual. For some women, desire decreases. For some, it increases. For some, sexuality changes shape entirely. And for many, intimacy becomes less about performance and more about authenticity. But what nearly all women share is this: the relationship with the body changes. And when the relationship with the body changes, relationships with others often shift too. Now let's begin with the science, because understanding removes shame. During perimenopause and menopause, declining levels of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone can affect sexual health and intimacy in very real physiological ways. Estrogen plays an important role in maintaining vaginal tissue health, elasticity, blood flow, and natural lubrication. As levels decline, vaginal tissues can become thinner, drier, and more sensitive, a condition now medically referred to as genitourinary syndrome of menopause, or GSM. Now honestly, whoever named that needs a word with themselves. It sounds less like a menopausal condition and more like an unreliable mobile phone network. But the symptoms themselves are very real. Dryness, discomfort during sex, burning sensations, recurrent urinary tract infections, bladder urgency. And because many women were raised not to discuss intimate health openly, countless suffer silently, believing this is simply something they must endure. They do not. There are treatments: vaginal estrogen, lubricants, moisturizers, pelvic floor therapy, hormone replacement therapy where appropriate, and open conversations with informed healthcare professionals can make an enormous difference. Painful sex is not something women should simply put up with. And yet, how many generations of women have quietly done exactly that? Then there is testosterone. Again, women absolutely produce testosterone, and it contributes not only to libido but also confidence, vitality, motivation, and sexual responsiveness. As levels shift, many women notice desire changes. And this is where things become complicated, because libido is not purely hormonal. It is relational, emotional, psychological, neurological. Quite frankly, it is difficult to feel wildly sensual when you're exhausted, overstimulated, bloated, sleep-deprived, furious about the state of the kitchen, and carrying 17 years of invisible emotional labor. Sometimes women don't have low libido. Sometimes they have unmet needs and absolutely no time alone. There. I said it. And what is fascinating is that menopause often acts like a truth serum within relationships. Things hidden become visible. Communication problems become harder to ignore. Resentment surface. Emotional disconnection becomes palpable. But so too can tenderness. Because many couples who navigate this stage honestly actually become closer. When performance drops away, intimacy can deepen. There is often less pretending, less pressure, more honesty about needs, fears, insecurities, desires, and vulnerability. And vulnerability, though uncomfortable, is often where genuine intimacy begins. Writer Esther Perel once said, "The quality of our relationships determines the quality of our lives." And menopause has a curious way of asking, which relationships nourish me? Which relationships drain me? Where do I feel emotionally safe? Where am I merely tolerated rather than cherished? Now let's talk about body image, because this one cuts deeply for many women. There is grief sometimes in watching the body change shape. Weight may redistribute around the abdomen due to metabolic and hormonal shifts. Skin changes, hair changes, breasts change, muscle tone changes. The face in the mirror may suddenly look more tired, softer, older, unfamiliar somehow. And in a culture obsessed with youth, this can feel brutal. Women receive messages constantly that desirability belongs to the young. That aging is something to fight, erase, conceal, apologize for. Meanwhile, men often go grey and suddenly society calls them distinguished. Honestly, the double standard deserves its own episode. But here is what I want to say carefully and clearly. A changing body is not a failing body. This body has carried life, stress, pleasure, loss, births, deaths, work, survival, love. This body has endured. And perhaps part of menopause is learning to see the body not merely as decoration, but as biography, a living record of experience. Now, that does not mean women must suddenly love every wrinkle while dancing barefoot in linen trousers eating organic figs under moonlight. Let's remain realistic. Some days we absolutely do stand sideways in the mirror wondering when exactly our upper arms became emotionally independent from the rest of the body. But humor matters, compassion matters, and the science matters too. Because hormonal changes genuinely affect fat storage, collagen production, skin hydration, sleep quality, and muscle maintenance. This is biology, not personal failure. And there is another layer to this conversation we rarely discuss enough. The invisibility many women begin feeling during menopause. Some women describe walking into rooms and feeling societally erased, as though aging women become less visible culturally, professionally, sexually. And yet, paradoxically, many women also report feeling more visible to themselves than ever before. Less willing to perform femininity purely for approval. Less interested in shrinking. More interested in authenticity. There is power in that shift. Now, relationships during menopause can become strained at times, particularly when partners do not understand what is happening. One partner may interpret withdrawal as rejection, mood changes as criticism, reduced libido as loss of attraction. Meanwhile, the menopausal woman herself may feel frightened, disconnected from her own body, exhausted, emotionally raw, or ashamed of changes she cannot control. This is why communication matters so deeply. Not mind reading. Not silent resentment. Communication. Simple, honest sentences like, "I still love you, but my body feels different right now. I need affection without pressure. I need support, not fixing. I need you to learn about this with me." And for partners listening to this episode, because yes, I know some of you are here nervously taking mental notes hoping not to say the wrong thing later, understand this. Menopause is not just hormones. It is a full neurological, endocrine, emotional, physical, and identity transition. Your compassion matters enormously. Sometimes intimacy during this phase looks less like wild cinematic passion and more like making someone a cup of tea without being asked. Honestly, that can become foreplay after 45. Now, before we close today, I want to speak directly to the woman listening who no longer feels beautiful. The woman avoiding mirrors, avoiding photographs, avoiding intimacy because she no longer recognizes herself. Please hear me. You are not losing your worth because your body is changing. And you do not owe eternal youth to anybody. There is beauty in vitality, yes. But there is also beauty in wisdom, in humor, in resilience, in emotional intelligence, in softness after survival, in confidence born from experience. Actress Helen Mirren once said, "The worst thing women can do is not talk to each other." And perhaps that is what this podcast truly is underneath it all. A conversation, a lantern held up in the dark, a reminder that millions of women are walking this same road together, often silently, often bravely. Thank you for joining me today on The Quiet Fire. Next time, we are going to explore something powerful. Reinvention, purpose, creativity, and the unexpected awakening many women experience after menopause, the season where so many begin asking, if not now, when? Until next time, be gentle with your body, speak kindly to your reflection, and remember, intimacy begins not with perfection, but with presence.
The quiet fire, rewriting the menopause story.